So I saw a movie in theaters. I thought it was great. How are you feeling for the reaction after the theater release and now with the DVD release?
Well, I mean, it's this franchise with Jack Reacher. It's such a well-loved franchise. I mean, it's got certainly there's the books, right? Mm-hmm. And I met so many people after doing this film who are just like huge fans of the books, and they also love Tom as Jack Reacher. They love him in the role as well. So I think for the fans of the books, and also if you're just a fan of Tom or if you're a fan of the first film, I think that this film really continues the series very nicely, and it creates some humanity for the Reacher character. There's some human connection that happens in the film that seems surprising because what you're expecting is just kind of a ballsy action flick, and it's got all those elements. If you love action movies, it's got those elements. It's got the fights. It's got amazing fights that are choreographed by Wade Eastwood. It's got the explosions, and it's got this humanity that I think is really it's actually touching in ways.
How was it like to come back to this movie? It's the sequel. It does really much push the envelope of what the original one did.
Right.
Right. How are you looking forward to that?
Well, I think they selected a really great story. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, if you know the books, they're not necessarily linear. You can sort of read them out of order, but I think they chose a great story in Never Go Back to kind of continue the franchise and that's why I think that they've done a great job. They really set the character up in the first film. In this film, they go beneath the surface, right? And we also see that there's a character that seems like kind of a match for Reacher, and so we see that Reacher bleeds. Reacher can he can be hurt. He's not invulnerable, but he is tenacious and he will outthink his opponents.
How did you feel being a part of this?
It was a great honor for me. I'd never worked with Ed Zwick or Tom Cruise before, and have great respect for both of those gentlemen. But for Tom in particular, it's. I've been watching Tom Cruise movies for years, since I was a kid, and to get to share screen time with him was an incredible honor. It was also kind of an education, to be honest with you, because Tom is always thinking he is not just an actor at this stage in his career. He's a producer. He's got a director's mind as well. He's got an awareness of all of the elements of production. He understands camera placement. He understands what's the size of the shot and what are we seeing on camera. So he might be in the scene, but he's also thinking about a lot of different elements that are going on. And you can watch him and you can almost see those wheels turning. So for me, it was just a tremendous opportunity to learn from someone who is really a master of his craft.
Yeah. So what are you taking away from your role in this, and what are you taking away from learning what Tom does?
Right. I mean, the role itself is interesting because when we open the film, we're really seeing almost like the end of a different Reacher story, and which I think is the idea of, well, I wonder what that story is. Let's find out more. But what we need to learn there, of course, is that it's circular. I mean, Reacher is this drifter, and he goes from place to place, and this film doesn't just start with him, on the bus to Washington to meet up with, a potential love interest. He's actually coming from some other place, and this is his life, and there's a certain freedom about it, and there's a certain sadness about it as well, and I think you see both of those elements come into play in this story. Is what is Reacher's connection to his own past, and how much is he going to allow that to affect who he is and how he goes forward in his life, and that's why I think this is such a great entry in the franchise. It allows us to kind of see into the psyche of Reacher, which is unexpected because he's such an iconic kind of American hero in a certain sense. But that drifter, kind of the dark drifter who does he does good, and then he leaves. Right? He just, he comes in. It's Seven Samurai. It's Sergio Leone. It's that kind of character, that mysterious drifter character. But I think this film scratches below the surface, and I think it maybe gives us a place to go in the future. So I would love to see how they build on this after Never Go Back.
Awesome. So you did the Jack Reacher Never Go Back escape room, right?
Right.
How was that? I mean,
Well,
I heard you guys got out with 3 minutes to spare.
That was intense. We had 3 minutes left, and I did it with Aldous and Danica, and so there were just the three of us. And I don't want to give too much away about the room, because if you're watching this, I want you to come try it out. But it feels like you're in the movie. It feels like a side story from the movie. I mean, and I even said it to Alice, like, we're back in the movie. But it pulls in elements from the film, sort of that military intrigue and all this, and you from the minute you are there and the clock starts ticking, you've got to be thinking, and you've also, there's no lone wolf in this. You really do have to collaborate, which is interesting. There are three elements, because you start out in a certain sense where you have, well, I don't want to give too much away, but interestingly in this film, what you find out is that Reacher, he can't act alone. He's got to collaborate, and in this escape room, you have to collaborate with your teammates, or you're not going to escape. So
definitely, I just went through it myself, and we got out with 6 minutes.
Good
we got,
for
we
you.
got a larger group though, so
Right.
I don't know if that helped us or if that
you
hurt
had
us.
more gray matter to help you through. We had just three of us, but we did it. Yeah.
Definitely awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.